Welcome to RealFixesRealFast.com. Today we're going to work on an air conditioning problem. Air conditioning leaks are often difficult to find, mainly because the gas is invisible. There are several methods we commonly use. One of the older methods is with the sniffer. Now we still use that, although it's not nearly as popular as it used to be. It's actually good for detecting large leaks. And then a more popular method these days is to use a dye light. You inject dye into the system because the gas is invisible, so the dye will come out where the gas comes out, and then you can use an ultraviolet light to highlight it so that you can see where the leak's at. Now a problem that we run into quite often is you actually inject the dye and you look around all over the place and you can't see any leaks. Where's it coming from? But what if it's leaking around the schrader valve? Oftentimes that goes unnoticed because you have your valves actually attached there. Now even when you take your valves off, the dye that you injected in is usually covered around that schrader valve. So when you're using the dye light, it looks like it's leaking, but most of the time you say, well, it can't be, that's dye, that's where we put the dye in the system. Well, here's one way that you can actually confirm whether or not that schrader is actually leaking. And that's to add another tool to your arsenal. It's called the listening ear. It's a sound amplifier. You basically put it on, and you have a wand, and when you turn this on, it greatly amplifies any sound that comes right through that point. Now why this is good is because you can put this right down on top of the schrader valve, and it doesn't matter if there's dye there or not. So you can actually do this even if you have not dyed the system. But if the dye is in there, you can put this on there, and if there is noise there, you can be sure that that's leaking. We're going to illustrate that now. Again, this is a sound amplifier. How it basically works is you put it on, you turn it on, and then if you look down in here, you can run this anywhere. But if you look right at the fittings, when there's a leak there, you're going to hear a real loud noise. Now you can't hear that, so I'm going to make it so that you can. What I'm going to do is separate this, and I'm going to put a sound recorder in between here. So I'm actually going to record this sound now so that you can see what I'm doing. I will tell you this, when you're using just the earphones and the sound amplifier, it's a lot more distinctive a sound. It's not exactly the same using the recorder, but you're going to get a good idea of what it's like. So now we're going to do it again where you can hear it recorded. So you basically move over here, and I'm going to go to the low side first. And then I'm going to go to the high side. Back to the low side. Now you're also hearing a lot of background noise. There's all kinds of background noise in here. So now we're going to do it again with the sound recorder in there so that you can hear it. So we're going to come in here, and we're going to move the wand real close to the low side port. And then we're going to go to the high side port. Come out in the open. And back to the low side port. So you can see real clearly right here. We definitely have a leak. And over here, there's just a very faint leak. So that's how you can actually confirm a leak at the schrader valves, either the high side or low side. Now this also works really good along some of the lines. Sometimes when you're having a hard time finding a leak, you can move along a line, and if it's a very, very fine leak, it'll often show up with a sound amplifier. So we've got to change that schrader valve. There's a way to do that without evacuating the whole system. We're going to show you that now. Now they make a tool for this, and you can do it for either the high or the low side. They've got a different fitting for both ones. Now here's the tool kit for this. It comes with a fitting for both the high or the low side. We're going to switch to the high side fitting. Basically, you attach the quick connect on the high side port, and there's a valve with a black handle. Now that's in the open position, but you notice up here you can pull this stem all the way out. It only pulls so far out, and then you have to unscrew it. Once it's pulled out, you can actually see that's where your schrader valve will actually go in. So it should take your schrader out and put a new one in. We'll show you how to work it now. Okay, how you work this is you simply just hook up the quick connect to the port. Now you notice this, you've got the black handle, which is your shutoff, and then the stem on the top. So if we try and turn that black handle right now, it won't turn because the stem is in the way. So you have to pull the stem all the way out when you're ready to take the schrader out, and then that valve will actually turn. So what you want to do first is have the valve in the up position like this, and put your stem all the way down and engage the schrader valve, and then twist it out. Then pull your stem all the way up, and then you shut your valve off. Now there's a little finger screw right here that you can loosen, which will take your stem out. And then you can see that the old schrader valve is right on the very end. So we simply take that off. Okay. We'll get the new schrader valve. And you put that on the end of the stem. You insert that back down the opening. You screw down the bottom until it's tight. And at that point, you can open the valve and push your stem all the way back down. Screw the schrader valve back in place. And then undo your disconnect. So now you've got a new schrader valve in place, and you did not have to discharge the air conditioning. Now we always like to change both schrader valves. If one's leaking, the other one may not be far behind. So we're going to change to the low side quick connect. And then it's the same procedure. Attach your low side quick connect, push your stem all the way down, and then you can unscrew the schrader valve. Pull your stem all the way up, turn the valve to shut the freon gas off. And then there's the schrader valve. Just put a new schrader valve on the end of the stem. Insert it down to the hole. Once it's tight, push the stem down. You do have to open that port so that the stem can travel. Get your schrader valve tight. Undo your disconnect, and you've got brand new schrader valves. So it's a handy little device. Allows you to actually change the schrader valves without discharging the system. Of course, at this point you'd want to use your listening ear again to confirm it, make sure it has sealed it off. Put your covers back on and you're all set.
That is so cool.